Behind Yang Xin, an angel with 3 pairs of wings slowly emerged. It's just that the expression of this angel is very strange. It seems to be smiling but not smiling, and it seems to be crying but not crying. Its face seems to be filled with various emotions of joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. Carefully look for his location, Yang Xingzin murmured. A long bow appeared in the angel's left hand behind her, and a blue wing was taken out from behind in her right hand. The wing turned into a sharp arrow in his hand, and the tail end still looked like a wing. A moment later, Canute suddenly emerged from the depths of the earth and opened his huge mouth. This time his target was Lu Yinghao. Lu Yinghao's face turned pale. Even though he had injected himself with adrenaline, he was not fast enough to escape Canute's attack. "Oh!" Canute swallowed Lu Yinghao directly. Yang Xin's eyes narrowed, and the angel behind her held a bow like a full moon, aimed at Canute's body, and shot it. Pfft! The blue arrow shot into Canute's body, and then only penetrated a small part of it. It didn't even penetrate his thick scales. Canute glanced coldly in Yang Xin's direction and ignored him. If you want to penetrate his defense, you must have deputy captain-level attack capabilities. He couldn't block Zhang Yi's void ball. Couldn't he block the attacks of the rest of the Tengu team? After Canute devoured Lu Yinghao, before he could taunt the Tengu team, he suddenly looked away, opened his mouth, and vomited Lu Yinghao out. Lu Yinghao was covered in mucus and extremely embarrassed, but he quickly stabilized his figure and looked at the huge blue shark with some pride. "I'm covered in poison, how dare you eat me?" Lu Yinghao, who can control hormones in his body, can turn his body fluids into deadly toxins, so Canute's choice to devour him was undoubtedly a huge decision-making mistake. However, judging from his huge size, it is obviously not that easy to kill him with poison. Wu Di's eyes lit up, and he found a way to deal with Canute. At least it can prevent everyone from being eaten by him. "Lu Yinghao, use your poison to put some on each of us." Lu Yinghao shouted, "Understood!" He quickly ran to Wu Di, bit his wrist open, and poured his blood on him. The blood becomes a deadly poison after his transformation. Others also went through this process, one by one. But Canute scoffed at this. "Do you really think that I can't do anything to you just because I can't eat you?" Canute showed his muscles and said, "If I can't eat you, I'll crush you to death." Eclipse member Yoshimitsu. Sakuraba held his right wrist with his left hand and aimed at the battlefield space where everyone was. Gravity release. As soon as his ability was activated, everyone suddenly felt that their bodies were many times heavier. Some non-melee type mutants even find it difficult to pull out. Surprisingly, however, they were not the worst offenders. Boom! A muffled sound came from the center of the battlefield, and Canute's body, transformed into a giant blue shark, suddenly sank into the depths of the earth. "Damn, what are you doing?" he roared. When Wu Di saw this scene, he suddenly raised his head and laughed. Such a powerful increase in gravity is an indiscriminate attack. For such a behemoth, it is simply a disaster. Daigong Yanjin can adapt to the strong gravity through constant exercise. But Canute couldn't do it, because his size and weight at this time were far beyond the scope of humans. Such a huge gravity put great pressure on his internal organs. It was only then that Sakuraba Yoshimitsu realized that the Canute in front of him could not be compared with Daigo Inobu. Before he could finish his words, Canute had already rushed over from the depths of the earth, and then, crack, bit him in half at the waist. Sakuraba Yoshimitsu's face was full of astonishment. He did not expect that he would not die in the hands of the Tengu team, but in the mouth of his temporary ally. This is the nature of pirates. As long as their interests are touched, they can kill even their close relatives. As soon as Sakuraba Yoshimitsu died, the gravity field at the scene returned to normal. Canute swallowed the body of Sakuraba Yoshimitsu, and the horrific wounds left. Zhang Yi on his body began to show signs of healing at this time. Wu Di's eyes narrowed. "This guy can heal himself by swallowing mutants!" the shadow falls on the thorns. Floating cannon! This momentary opportunity was captured by the Tengu team. The shadow at Yehi's feet quickly extended out and merged with Canute's huge shadow. Then, from the shadow of the earth, hundreds of sharp black thorns suddenly shot out and pierced his body. Canute laughed and ran fast from there and said to slow. At the same time, Wudi condensed a huge floating cannon in his hand, turning into a huge beam of light and shooting at Canute's body. The two of them were very particular about where they chose to attack. It was the location where Zhang Yi had left a wound. Canute's body shook, and a layer of purple smoke appeared. Yehi and Wu Di's joint attack also caused him some injuries. Woo! Canute let out a loud whine. Yang Xin, who was in the distance, also asked the angel behind him to aim at Canute and shoot a second arrow. But this arrow is yellow. Canute has always paid attention to everyone's movements on the battlefield. Thusby air. Girl just shot him with an arrow, causing about 0 damage. But this yellow arrow gave him an unknown omen. He decided not to resist with his body, but quickly dived underground. The yellow arrow missed. Yang Xin's expression was calm, without any loss. Wu Di and Ye He jointly attacked, causing some damage to Canute, but it was not enough to decide the victory. This made the two of them feel even more stressed. If Canute hadn't been seriously injured by Zhang Yi, could they really have won with just them? He is worthy of being the captain of the pirate regiment that roams the sea, and he should not be underestimated. A moment later, Canute rushed out of the ground with Shanchai. This time the target is still Wu Di, because among these people, only Wu Di really hurt him. At the critical moment, it was Kong Sheng who stepped forward again. He is the only melee mutant left in the team. Only he can block Canute's attack head-on. But when Kong Sheng stood in front of Canute, a flash of amusement flashed in the eyes of the violent Kanut. "It's you I want to kill, bastard. As long as the Tin Man is killed, the remaining mutants can still be manipulated by him." Boom! Canute turned over in the air and jumped into the air like a whale leaping out of the sea. Then his head, carrying an electric current of 100,000 volts, hit Kong Sheng hard. Boom! Kong Sheng had no way to dodge, so he could only clasp his hands in front of him, trying to resist the impact. A huge crash sounded on the battlefield, and blue arcs of electricity intertwined into ferocious snakes in the air. The force of this impact was so great that it directly knocked Kong Sheng more than 10 meters deep into the earth. Kong Sheng! Wu Di was lucky enough to save his life, but when he looked at the pit, he found that Canute had disappeared. He lurked, waiting for Shanchai's charge to end, and then launched a second attack. But Kong Sheng, the former honest man, of the Black Robe team, had his body cut into 2 parts, and was as black as a piece of coal. In the end, he still couldn't withstand the combined attack of Canute and Shanchai. This is perhaps the biggest tragedy of tank mutants. They always need to stand at the front of the team and bear pressure that they should not bear. The members of the Tengu team felt a little sad, but now they don't have time to be sad. This is not the first time they have lost teammates in battle. If they were so sad that they couldn't control themselves every time, they would have died on the battlefield long ago. Now that Kong Sheng is dead, how can we solve the head-on problem? He gritted his teeth and said. Canute's ability was too strong. Although he was seriously injured, his level was still far beyond theirs. In addition, there were 2 deputies beside him who were comparable to elite investigative teams, so the Tengu team was not given much chance at all. Wu Di also looked confused. Originally, there were 2 top enhancement-type mutants in their team configuration. However, the Tianlong pirates teamed up with Eclipse, and their combat power exceeded their expectations. Zhang Yi, Bai Li Changqing, and Liang Yue, the 3 major combat powers, were all contained. What are they going to do? There is no other way but to fight to the death. But the worst thing had just begun. On the mountain where the eclipse moon appeared, Jinguji Seiichiro was delayed by Zhang Yi for a long time and had to use himself to protect Takeuchi Mayumi. But, suddenly, a sly smile appeared on his lips. "Finished!" he murmured this. The next moment, he jumped up with his shikigami and joined the battlefield below. Wu Di's eyes suddenly condensed. He actually gave up protecting the Miko.